Darkness never announces its arrival. It convinces the world that light is already gone, and on the night the Pride Lands fell silent. Even the stars seemed unsure whether to shine. A heavy cloud covered the moon, winds whispered through empty grass, and fear crept where claws could not. Kion stood alone at Pride Rock, feeling the land beneath him tremble with doubt. This was not the kind of darkness that charged with teeth and fire. This was the kind that waited, patient and confident, believing hope had finally run out. The Lion Guard had faced enemies before, but never a moment like this. Villains could be fought, storms could be endured, but despair was different. It weakened hearts, slowed paws, and made even the bravest question their purpose. Fully felt it in her legs, heavy as if the ground resisted her speed. Besh sensed it in the rivers, where once clear water moved sluggishly, burdened by silence. Ono watched the skies and realized the stars themselves looked dimmer, as if unsure they were still needed. Bunga, who usually laughed in the face of danger, stayed quiet, gripping the ground as if afraid it might disappear. Threat revealed itself slowly. A spreading shadow began swallowing territory, not through battle, but through fear. Animals abandoned their homes, borders emptied, and rumors raced faster than truth. Some said the circle of life was broken. Others claimed the Pride Lands were cursed. Darkness fed on belief, growing stronger every time someone gave up. Kion felt the raw stir, but it felt distant, uncertain. Power alone could not fight an enemy that lived in the mind. For the first time, he wondered if being a leader meant knowing when strength was not enough. The weight of expectation pressed down on him, heavier than any crown. If he failed, it would not just be a loss of land, but a loss of faith. Rafiki appeared without warning, staff tapping softly against stone. He did not speak of strategy or enemies. He spoke of stories. He reminded Kion that every legend begins in darkness, because light means nothing until it is almost lost. Light does not rush. It waits. It survives. It finds a way. The guard gathered, listening, not to commands, but to each other. For the first time since the shadows spread, they spoke openly of fear. Not weakness, but fear. Naming it took power away from it. Fully admitted she was afraid of running and finding nothing left to protect. Best feared his strength would fail those who depended on him. Ono feared knowledge was useless if no one believed anymore. Bunga feared being brave alone. Kion listened, and something shifted. Leadership was not about pretending to be unafraid. It was about carrying fear together. He realized light was not something he had to create. It already existed in every one of them. It just needed to be shared. When the darkness finally moved openly, it expected resistance, fueled by anger or force. Instead, it met unity. The guard moved not as fighters, but as symbols. They restored abandoned paths, guided the lost home, protected without demanding loyalty in return. Every small act weakened the shadow. Fear starved when hope was fed. The enemy tried to strike then, desperate and exposed. The roar answered, not as thunder, but as clarity. Light burst through clouds, not because darkness allowed it, but because it could not stop it. The shadow retreated, wounded not by power, but by belief reborn. As dawn broke, the Pride Lands glowed again, not unchanged, but stronger. Kion understood the truth carved into legend. Darkness may fall. Hope may flicker. But light does not need permission. Light always finds a way. Light does not end the moment darkness retreats, because shadows remember, and the true test of hope begins after the night has passed. Morning returned to the Pride Lands, yet something fragile lingered in the air. A quiet question whispered by every paw that touched the ground. Was the light real, or only temporary? Kion felt that question pressing against his chest as he watched the sun climb higher, illuminating scars the darkness had left behind. Victory had come, but certainty had not. The Pride Lands were awake again, but they were cautious. Animals returned slowly, testing the safety of familiar paths. Laughter sounded softer, joy more careful. Everyone feared that believing too strongly might invite the darkness back. Kion understood this fear. Light restored too quickly can blind as easily as darkness can consume. True hope had to be proven, step by step. The Lion Guard moved through the land not as heroes, but as caretakers, fully ran patrols at half speed, staying close to those who still trembled. Besht helped rebuild riverbanks and watering holes, reminding others that strength was meant to support, not dominate. Ono guided migrations gently, correcting mistakes without judgment. Bunga told stories, not jokes this time. Stories of survival and courage, meant to remind everyone that fear had been faced and beaten before. Yet, the darkness had not vanished entirely. It lingered in hidden places, feeding on doubt left behind. A final fragment remained, not powerful enough to conquer, but dangerous enough to poison. It whispered to the weak-minded, promising safety in isolation and control through fear. Slowly, unrest returned at the edges of the Pride Lands, subtle but growing. Kion sensed it before anyone else. The roar pulsed faintly, not warning of battle, but urging action of a different kind. He realized the truth Rafiki had tried to teach him. Light is not a single moment of victory. It is a responsibility. If left unattended, darkness will always try to return. Instead of marching the guard into battle, Kion made a choice that surprised everyone. He split them up. Not out of strategy, but out of trust. Each member was sent to a different corner of the Pride Lands, not to fight, but to lead. To inspire. To remind. Was the hardest decision he had ever made, because it required faith not only in his team, but in the light within them. Alone at Pride Rock, Kion faced the Shadow's final attempt. It rose not as a monster, but as doubt, echoing every fear he had ever carried. It told him he was too young, too unsure, too dependent on others. It told him light would fade the moment he stepped aside. For a brief moment, he wavered. Then he remembered something simple and powerful. Light is not diminished when shared. It multiplies. The Guard returned one by one, carrying hope with them. Not as force, but as belief reborn across the land. Their shadow, weakened, exposed, unable to survive without fear to feed it. Kion released the roar, not in anger, but in affirmation. The sound echoed across the Pride Lands like a promise kept. When silence followed, it was peaceful, not empty. The darkness was gone, not driven away, but undone. The Pride Lands stood brighter than before, not because danger no longer existed, but because they no longer feared it. As stars filled the sky once more, Kion looked at his friends and understood the truth that would define every story told after this one. Darkness will always try to return. Paths will be lost. Gnats will fall. But as long as even one heart chooses hope, light will rise again. Because no matter how far it must travel, no matter how small it seems at first, light always finds a way.